Okay guys, so everybody knows that the G22 has a pretty bad trigger. I purchased it with modifying the trigger in mind. I'm going to show you what the problem is with the trigger. So first of all, let's take the magazines out. There is a Allen key bolt here that needs to be removed. So if you just bear me a second, I'm just going to get that bolt right here on the rifle removed. So if you just give me just a second, we'll do that now. A little bit tricky doing this one-handed. Okay. This pin comes. Okay. We have that pin. Once this pin's been removed, there is a push pin near the fire selector. Right here. Take a tool, push that straight out. So let's put the phone down. Let's put the camera down a second. Okay, so what I literally did was just push this into here, push that pin out the other side. And what you do is this assembly here, the lower part of the receiver and stock, just pulls away from the upper here. So what you need to do is grab hold of this piece, and just literally give it a yank, and it will come away like so. Take that piece, set it to the side with the pins and the bolt. So the problem with the trigger is this. This bar is exceptionally flimsy, bendy, and in my opinion too short. So when the weapon is ready to fire, what happens here, the action back here has that much slack before it even does anything. Okay, and before that spring even really starts to compress. If you look at the trigger, that amount of movement translates to pretty much that much on the trigger. That's insane. I mean, that's like an inch of trigger movement before you even start to have any effect on the action and the firing mechanism. That's not even half the problem, and yeah, you shouldn't dry fire your rifles, but I'll just show you an example. By the way, it's always a good idea when you're stripping down or cleaning your G22 to remove those two plastic pieces there, or they'll fall off. I will just cycle the bolt on the action. But, okay, yeah, that won't close because of this plate. So, give me just a second. There we go. So what happens is when you pull this trigger here, now there is no resistance whatsoever. That is just play. Yeah, you can see that there's some play not only, you know, here, but also here. You'll see the bar raise itself. Yeah, see it go upwards and bend. It's really poor. So once you get this far, once you've already travelled an inch, then watch this. When you start meeting resistance, the bar starts bending, look, upwards before it will even do anything over here. Now that's just crazy. Give me just a second. What I intend to do is pull that out of there, remove the bar from there, remove the bar from there on the trigger assembly, and here we have the offending bar. I just so happen to have this, which I actually just tested the durability of it and how it will bend. I can shape this, it will be fine. It's, as you can see, a hell of a lot thicker and more and stronger than this little bendy thing. So intentions are, as you can see, I want to put a slight bend in it, but I'm gonna the bend has to be there to get past when the lower part of the stock and the receiver goes in. It has to bend slightly, follow this curve here, so it has to have a bend in it. The idea is to extend this very slightly, get it on the grinding wheel, grind it down on these ends here, heat it up and bend it to the required angle, so then it can fit into the trigger and the action itself. So that's why it has such a crappy trigger, and the next clip, hopefully, I'll be back once I've finished bending and grinding this into shape to fit it in, give it a test, and see what it's like. Okay. Okay guys, so what I've basically done is taken this down just a touch, taken the bar down just a touch, like this, and I'm going to continue to work on that, cut the right length, do the other side, bend it, heat it, bend it, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so just back with the rifle at the garage. What I've done is still got a long bar, haven't bent it yet. What I have done is, if that's going to focus on that, hold on, there we go. So ground this down, heated it up, bent it to the right angle, pretty much the right angle. Now what's going to happen is that is going to sit in there rather nicely. So as you can see, I've still got, I can put my trigger over here, it might work quite well. Certainly better than the factory one. Right, that's going to go in there. So I'm going to shape this, get a similar angle in it. I'm not going to put a nasty bend in it like it was. I'm just going to curve it very slightly. It's a bit longer than standard, and just do the same with this end really. Just grind this piece down, make sure it's nice and hot, bend it into shape, attach it. We'll see how it goes. Alright, okay guys, we're back. This was my first attempt at the bar, so as you can see it's looking a bit better. Way too long. So I tried to take this stupid little angle out here, not have so many angles in the bar. We can insert that in there. I mean, this is solid as hell, this thing. Unfortunately, even when we try and take up some of this slack there on the fire mechanism, this, if I tried to put this in underneath it, is still probably a good 10 mil out, to be fair. I could put a bit more of a bend in it, but I think I'm going to have to just trim it down a bit more. But anyway, I'm going to put some markings on it, trim it down, come back to it, try again. We should be somewhere handy. Okay guys, so after a bit of fiddling, a bit of grinding, bending and hammering, here's what we have. The new bar. Now, this isn't going anywhere in a hurry. It was quite a tight fit. Now, you can compare old bar versus new bar. I haven't tried to get the stock back together yet. I'm hoping the curve is adequate. However, what I can say is from, just cock it a second, the trigger mechanism is vastly improved. You still have a small amount of take up, probably about half of what you had before. It was going from sort of here to here. It was insane. Now it just goes that far. Now from this point here, you literally just, it goes pretty much immediately. As you know, before you had a crazy amount of movement. You had all the bend up here and everything else going on. So already I think the trigger, fingers crossed, if I got this correct and it all goes back together okay, it's going to be a massive improvement. But I will get it back together and we'll give it a try. Okay, so here we are with everything back together again. Put the mag in and let's cock it. Yeah, there we go. So trigger has only a slight amount of movement now, and when I pull it, it fires a lot sooner. So let's get the trigger on there again, ready? There's a tiny bit of movement there, and then start to pull it, it goes, rather than it going, you know, like a bloody inch like it did before. I mean, it was over here before and it went all the way back, and then you had to pull, click, you know. Sorry about that, I ran out of storage on my phone. Yeah, basically it's working. Happy with it. Much better than it was. Well worth the time to try and do the modification. It's a bit fiddly, but you know, the steel rod, I don't recall where I got it from. You know, it could have been out of anything. I keep old bits and pieces of steel rods out of appliances, anything we throw away. But it, you know, it was a fairly thickish steel bar. But it just was a case of grinding it down, putting it in the vise, hammering and bending it to the right shape, to get it from the action. Just, you know, curved enough around here, and then onto the trigger itself. I extended it very slightly, just from here, just to push the fire mechanism just back very slightly, and take up some of the slack, and obviously it's strengthened so it doesn't bend up here like it did before. But all in all, working well. Going to take it out tomorrow, shoot it, and see how it performs. Alright, cheers guys.